I think my pictures are wonky for a start. I think my pictures are wonky for a start. I think my pictures are wonky for a start. I think my pictures are wonky for a start. I think my...
What up?
Is that a loop I heard there?
Sorry?
I had a loop of my own voice.
Yeah, no, I had you playing. Hello, everyone in the chat. What's up, Dan?
Hey, everyone.
Danny's worried about the aesthetics of his background deeply.
Yeah, it's not like it's something I use every week professionally. Yeah, it's. I'm starting to think my apartment's just kind of wonky because no matter how much I straighten those up, it's always something that looks out of place. I'm just staring at the background now constantly.
Well, I think that's the peak city apartment experience. It's just never flat in 100 years.
Yeah, you got to pay extra for that.
Yeah.
How's it going, everyone? I saw someone in the chat say we're close to 2 million subs on the channel, which is true. I'm just looking on Social Blade to see a prediction. When do you think? What date do you think Social Blade is saying?
So like mid December.
Actually, later than that. Because originally I was messaging you, wasn't I, saying like, oh, it looks like it's going to be the start of December. We're going to hit 2 mil.
12/20. Okay, Eric's got Christmas Day. It's
very close. Yeah, very close. Any other guesses in the chat when we're projected to hit?
Said, well, people are arguing about this Elon Musk thing already. Eh?
Oh yeah, we should probably get into that.
I just thought it was funny.
27th of December we're supposed to hit. So I think it's fair to say at this point we should hit it before the end of the year. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see whether things pick up in terms of getting subs. But that would be pretty cool if we managed to squeeze in 2 mil before the end of the year.
It would be dope.
2 mil for 2022.
Yeah, I'm in on that, honestly. What's the reasoning behind the word? I mean, it's just we're just kidding. I'm not saying it's ruined. That's why it's a question. It's like I think it's interesting that everyone has different opinions. So we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, guys.
Imagine discussing something.
We literally put a provocative headline so that people would want to jump in and have a discussion, which you guys are now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What's the vibe?
Seems like people like Elon Musk a lot, which I don't necessarily disagree with.
Well, I guess one of the first things to talk about is like what's practically going to change.
Sure, yeah.
Because, like for the average user, so I think that's a different thing to what it's like to work there, perhaps, right? It's not like one does affect the other, right? Depending on who works in the place, that will affect the product. But people are acting like, you know, this is day one of like a completely different Twitter.
Right.
And I just wonder if like it might take a while to see any sort of trickle down effects from Mr. Musk himself, you know?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, someone says, yeah, I just hope that free speech is not... Well, I mean, I think anything is controversial if people have different takes on it, right? I mean... I thought people would agree. Check that. Saw most disagreed and shifted position. Okay, buddy. If you really think people on YouTube actually operate that way, then you're sadly mistaken. Change the law.
You also lied. You put a title that way because you thought people would agree. You checked that, saw most people disagreed and shifted positions while ignoring.
Yeah.
No, honestly, we just wanted to pose it as a question because, you know, then it is clearly open for a discussion. It's a question, so it's definitely like framed a certain way, but I think that's, you know, we're trying to capture the vibe, right? People seem to be asking that question, seem to be discussing it. So I think it's fair to pose it as a question.
Change the law.
I'm sorry you feel like that.
Change the law. Usually, average consumers don't follow companies. We are going to talk about League Worlds. I'm also going to be there, which I'm excited about. It changed a lot considering usually average. Yeah, I mean, I think that's like, I think that's That's the interesting thing is someone with that much like sort of economic influence also being in the public eye is like extremely novel, and that's why it's a controversial topic and therefore worth talking about. So I think it's pretty simple in that capacity.
What do you think of the? Well, there's two videos. Well, there's one video and a couple of pictures that were going around a lot the other day. One of them was the sink one,
Yeah.
of him walking in with the sink, and the other one was some pictures of him having coffee with some of the new employees. Yeah, the sink one I just found really really bizarre. Like, I didn't know what was going on there.
Dude. Yeah, he just cares about his sink, man. Look at this.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if he had to carry that sink.
He either has his own personal sink that he deeply cares about, or he's just helping the guys out. You know, bring the sink in. You know. You think Elon slums it and brings in the sink with the workers?
I mean, first, I never actually thought sinks were sort of necessary to bring with you from workplace to workplace, or you know, I can totally understand, like, you know, moving your desk plant to a new workplace, moving your new keyboard, maybe you got a custom keyboard. Get that? This is normal work stuff, but moving a sink from job to job. Okay, interesting. Maybe it has some secret Tesla tech behind it.
So
Amphibious sink.
how do you feel if you saw the title wrote the other way? Someone will Elon make Twitter great again. I probably wouldn't write it that way, but I mean, I definitely understand what you're saying. Like, I think you're probably lying to yourself if you don't. I mean, the fact is, like, for all of time, like, that's how newspaper titles are written. I mean, if topics have two sides to them, you usually write in the negative. It's just sort of how it works. But I definitely understand what you're saying, and framing is important for sure. PayPal, Solar City, Tesla, SpaceX, pretty decent. Yeah, I mean, I think it's certainly true that this guy is maybe we unpack the quote unquote controversy. It's certainly true that this guy is successful. He is charismatic, in my opinion. A lot of people like him on the internet. He is worth a lot of money. So those are three characteristics that are not hard to achieve, or not easy to achieve. And then you have this guy who obviously has all of this influence, and then he kind of seems like he's going, fuck it, I'm going to just buy Twitter for fun. But then you just have this. Then now he has to fucking make the company work. I don't know where you're at with that, Danny. Like, I sort of feel like people like this, people that are that successful, don't just like make decisions on a whim. I don't think that I think as much as funny as he's trying to be about it, like, he seems to clearly care about Twitter. So
I think he's a mixture of both. Like, I don't think he does anything that he thinks will, like, be a waste of time or not enrich his life or help with his vision of the future, right? I don't think he does stuff for, like, shits and giggles in the same way an average person might, right? But yeah, I also think there's an element of this being just like an exciting thing that he personally wants to do. It's a bit like with the boring company he has, right? Like this whole wanting to drill these transport tunnels under is it LA or California? Maybe California at large, but I think parts of LA. This definitely feels like a passion project for him. I know this isn't a fair comparison as well, but we had the whole flamethrower thing when he was selling those flamethrowers. Like,
right.
He definitely strikes me as someone who, like I say, he doesn't choose things that are like completely random and like sort of not going to help him. But he's definitely one for passion projects, I feel like.
Yeah.
So, but this is a hell of a big passion project, like spending
for sure.
that much money on that. But do you want to pull up his tweet? Because I feel like
I got it up here.
Oh, you got it? Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So he writes a statement to Twitter advertisers where he says, wanted to reach out personally to share my motivation in acquiring Twitter. There's been much speculation about why. Most of it is wrong. I imagine that's just how the internet works. The reason I acquired Twitter is because it's important to the future of civilization to have a common digital town square where a wide range of beliefs can be debated in a healthy manner without resorting to violence. There's currently a great danger that social media will splinter into far right-wing and far left-wing echo chambers that generate more hate and divide our society. In the relentless pursuit of clicks, much of traditional media has fueled and catered to those polarized extremes as they believe that it is what brings in the money, but in doing so, the opportunity for dialogue is lost. And he goes on to say, that's why I bought Twitter. I didn't do it because it would be easy. I didn't do it to make more money. I did it to try to help humanity, whom I love, and I do so with humility, recognizing that failure in pursuing this goal, despite our best efforts, is a very real possibility. That said, Twitter obviously cannot become a free-for-all hellscape where anything can be said with no consequences. In addition to adhering to the laws of the land, our platform must be warm and welcoming to all, where you can choose your desired experience according to your preferences, just as you can choose, for example, to see movies or play video games, ranging from all ages to mature. I also very much believe that advertising, when done right, can delight, entertain, and inform you. It can show you a service or product or medical treatment that you never knew existed, but is right for you. For this to be true, it is essential to show Twitter users advertising that is as relevant as possible to their needs. Low relevancy ads are spam, but highly relevant ads are actually content. Fundamentally, Twitter aspires to be the most respected advertising platform in the world that strengthens your brand and grows your enterprise. To everyone who has partnered with us, I thank you. Let us build something extraordinary together. So that's his take on why he bought Twitter. Which, I mean, I think there's a lot there for sure. I think the idea that we work in digital media. I think the idea that you need some sort of like digital town square, as he puts it, is interesting. And it's for this reason. I saw somebody in the chat asking me to give my opinion on the question proposed, which is, will Elon Musk ruin Twitter? I actually don't think he will ruin Twitter. I think while some of the criticisms of people in positions like Elon Musk are valid, I think so long as what he's saying is true, that he's like trying to build a open sort of marketplace for conversation, it sounds healthy to me. And I definitely agree that whether you like it or not, such a large percentage of the conversations that happen in the public sphere happen on Twitter or on the internet. And I think it's like valuable to make that a priority, given that, I mean, this tool has kind of gotten completely out of control, right? Like it's almost like no longer a company. Obviously it's worth money and they can do whatever the fuck they want with it because they own it. But man, like the amount of influence you have on a platform like this, it is scary. And I think for that reason, it requires a lot of direction and a lot of careful consideration about how it moves forward.
There's something I saw ages ago talking about, like the whole, not just the morality, but like the legality of like companies, like social media companies, banning people, in a sense that like the obvious argument for them being able to do it is like they're a private company, right? But there is an argument that like that when certain things become so big and so integral to society, they become something like carrier mediums, or some sort of phrase for it. And they kind of had that with like phone networks, right? Because like phone networks were and still largely are like, quite often privately run, and it's not easy to sort of ban someone from the phone network or say that they can or can't use that, right? Yeah. Because it's so integral to it became so integral to society that it's just almost like a right to almost. And I've heard people say that as an argument for social media as well, right? That this stuff has become such an integral part of it, almost like this sort of digital town square that Elon Musk is talking about, that to sort of try and curtail people's speech on it it's more than just kicking someone off a private site, right? These things are so much bigger than even just the way we saw social media like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
so much more than that. Now, I thought it was an interesting argument for this sort of discussion.
No, I mean, I think, it's sort of, I mean, that's why governments regulate like things like telecommunication and all this sort of thing, because they become, as like the technology develops, they become, a sort of a part of everyday life, and then you sort of have to acknowledge their existence and impact on just like how people live. And I mean, it seems like that's at least top of mind for this experiment with Twitter. And that's probably a healthy thing. I mean, who knows how it'll actually play out, but certainly think it's interesting.
I just wonder what like practical steps, is going to happen now, right?
Right.
Is it just a case of like relaxing on moderation, right? Because that's all I can see happening at the minute is just where the previous administration might have banned people or put in certain filters or rules, or they're just going to pull back on that a bit. Is that it? Like that's the most obvious thing that will happen next, from what I can tell, right? I don't really know what the next steps could be.
It's kind of the only thing I've heard so far is like them chilling on bans, like unbanning people. Like that's like the whole. That's the whole thing, is like people saying Trump's going to get unbanned, and that's basically been the only news coming out of this so far. So
yeah,
I mean,
well, Hassan kept saying that.
Yeah.
Can you zoom out a bit more, my picture, or like, because I feel like if I move even slightly, I just fall out of the frame.
I mean, I can try, but it's really finicky. So.
Okay, I can just stay still. I'm just extremely my neck hurts is what I'm trying to say. My neck hurts today.
Right. Yeah.
Winter says they regulate telecommunications so heavily purely as a communications company has such a lot, not using antitrust lawsuit in history. Yeah. I wonder if there's an argument to be said for the same thing when it comes to social media, right? With potential monopolies, right?
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, there has to be some sort of like, I don't know, like sort of collective good argument about the way that these things, or how much they should be run by profit-seeking entities, if they are in fact like integral to, I don't know, just being in the public eye, etc.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I also find it interesting that his like first announcement is addressed directly to Twitter advertisers. Like we're sitting here as perhaps like Twitter users or people that talk about stuff to do with Twitter, or we're in the media, right? And a lot of people who are replying to this and talking about it on Twitter are talking about it from their perspective as like average. But really, this is all not really aimed at us in that sense. Like even the entire last page, it's literally just talking about the benefits of good advertising, like advertising done right. And it says fundamentally Twitter aspires to be the most respected advertising platform in the world. Like, I guess there could have been space there to say like Twitter aspires to be the most open, free speech championing forum in the world, whatever. But it's just, I find it interesting that the entire last section is devoted to advertisers, right? And it seems like that's his primary concern at the minute, is just sort of steadying the ship, and because I imagine that's their main concern right now, is that there's quite a tumultuous time for Twitter, right. And but it's just funny seeing all the replies. Like everyone is literally talking about how it would affect the average person's experience on the app. Perhaps I'm reading into that wrong, but
yeah. I mean, one thing of note for sure is the fact that he just purchased this product, and now he's like, oh, advertisers, like, come make money, because I mean, obviously he has to recoup the amount of money he just invested in this like gigantic tech company. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I think it's gonna be interesting. Obviously we use Twitter a lot. because of work, and you know, I'm as somebody who like went to journalism school and you know is sort of been in media for so long. I'm pretty interested in seeing like how mainstream media is affected by this and how like a lot of the sort of socio-political conversations on Twitter play out under sort of new authority.
Absolutely. I will say, you know, just to sort of lighten the tone as we bring this to a close, I will say that I did just find the way he referred to, what was it? I didn't do it to make more money. I did it to try to help humanity. That made me laugh.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like upset any Elon Musk fans, but that made me laugh. But the only time I've seen that sort of phrasing where someone says, "Humanity, whom I love," the only time I've seen that sort of speech is in the Bible.
Yeah.
Like the way Jesus talks about humanity. Like to talk about it as if it's something separate from you. Like, you know, maybe that's just me because, you know, I grew up in a sort of Christian background, so had a fair amount of that Bible stuff going on. But that's what my mind instantly went to. I was like, I have only seen, to my knowledge, and again, I'm not trying to be unfair here, but two people refer to humanity as like so sort of separately sounding.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus and Elon. So take from that what you will.
I mean, the guy sort of has more money than God. I mean, at a certain point, like it's like you know, everyone makes jokes, right, about, you know, the U.S.'s influence and like, you know, just billionaires in general, how much fucking money they have. And I mean, at a certain point, when you have that much influence, like you are the people that can actually, you know, maybe help or hurt humanity. Like obviously, this guy has like a ton of.
That is.
Like, yeah, like who has the power to help people more, like other than government actors?
I guess that's the thing. I'm not trying to say he doesn't have an impact, isn't able to have an impact on humanity, and I'm sure that the Wikipedia page of the 21st century is going to have more than a few mentions of Elon Musk, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to like downplay his influence at all.
It is just an insane thing to say about or insinuate about yourself.
It lacks any sense of humility that I'm accustomed to in my daily life. To say that I talk about humanity. Like if me and you went for a drink, and I said, I said, yeah, man, I've been wanting to help out and volunteer with this cool scheme I found. You know, just to help humanity, whom I love.
Yeah.
You'd be like,
dude, that's fucking.
Are you okay? Like, what? Why are you talking like some sort of prophet? You know? Anyway, that's my 2 cents. That's not any sort of like judgment on the rest of it. But,
yeah. No, it's good.
Humanity, whom I love. Maybe that should have been the headline.
Yeah.
Maybe that should have been the video headline. We are here to help humanity, whom we love. Okay. Well,
you want to talk chess or worlds?
Oh, I want to talk worlds just because someone in the chat requested that straight away. Yeah, obviously I can't see what's on your screen. I'll have to check the stream. Hang on.
Is this politics? I like, look, okay. I'll address this. Like, okay, first of all, I think to insinuate that like the sort of esports gaming internet world is somehow far away from Twitter is just like, it just doesn't really land for me. Like, we've covered all of Twitch, all of YouTube for so long. Like, these things are just obviously tangentially related. So I just don't really get that position. But the other thing is like, I don't know how inherently political Elon Musk is. Like, I mean, I guess he is inherently political, but like, it's just like people who have a computer and use the internet care about these subjects. I just, it's completely lost on me how this is like so divorced from day to day. Yeah, that's just me. Twitter's always going to be sort of politics. Yeah, I mean that's definitely true, but I mean I don't think it's like far removed from the sort of internet part of this, the internet world, which is basically where our interest lies. That's true. I mean, yeah, I guess that's fair.
Yes, indeed. But to go back to something more
Yeah,
traditional
League of
esports.
Legends.
League of Legends.
I love League of Legends, Danny. Did you know that?
What about changing headlines as we go through the video? Like you know how like streamers will do that.
I already did that.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah.
God, I'm so far behind you. Damn. That looked like I was like setting you up to sort of boast about that. Yeah. Oh man, can we move? Oh, I just realized I can just
move your camera, man.
Genius.
Oh, this is finished. Can't even touch. Yeah, I mean that's like my position. I don't know. Like it's like there's no world in which like I'm a fucking Valorant fan, so that means I literally don't care about anything else on earth. I mean we just cover the esports news and internet news and gaming news all the time.
I guess we can have a frank conversation about that, because you know part of what we wanted to do on, you know, when Keith and I meet up and do this live show every week is perhaps like pulling the curtains back a little bit on Don't At Me, and you know, like when I first joined Don't At Me, when I first joined the channel, it took me a while to see how interconnected the world of streaming was to the world of esports, right? Like at first I kind of found it a little bit odd sometimes. Like, wait, who are these people? What game do they play? They're just like streamers, right? But the more you went on, the more it like made sense. The more there was like so much overlap, not just in terms of like people involved in both scenes, but in terms of the interest of the viewers. And now it's like second nature to us to like cover something about the streaming world or Twitch, right?
Yeah.
It's almost obvious. Yeah, you'll always get the occasional comment being like, "I didn't know this was theScore Twitch Sports," or whatever, some hilarious comment like that. But generally speaking, everyone gets that there's a connection there, and I think that, like, you know, we wouldn't be doing our job if we weren't sort of seeing how we could explore that further, right?
Yeah,
and you know, Twitter is perhaps one of those things. Like, as people who spend all their lives finding out about a lot of esports things on Twitter, the two seem pretty related to us. And YouTube is another. We've got a video coming out today, actually, Don't At Me today, that is covering YouTube, something that's happened on YouTube in much the same way we would cover Twitch. So, yeah, I just wanted to like put that out there to everyone. That's our thinking. A little peel behind the curtain there. You got any thoughts about that, Keith? But...
Yeah, I guess like the short story, or like the short version of it is I've basically, since we've done news on theScore, I've worked here and worked on the news shows. I've never been, to be honest with you guys, I've never been like a diehard esports player. Like, I don't spend a lot of my free time playing esports titles, but I reported on them for 5 years. But what I did do is, like, I followed a lot of the internet stuff, you know, and I followed Twitch really closely as I was working at theScore. And I mean, I think the link between those two things, it's like Hollywood, right? Like, it's like people care about the goings on of Hollywood outside of just the movies. And I think that's, like, in a lot of ways the way that the internet is starting to move. And that's like sort of how we try to cover this stuff, for better or for worse. I mean, sometimes we're not inhuman. We make mistakes. Sometimes we cover things that you guys don't like. Sometimes we cover things that you do like. But
the only way we can find out is by trying it, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Always down to try everything.
Yeah.
Once, I say.
It's just the move.
But we've also got our old faithfuls like League of Legends to fall back on as well.
Yeah. So Danny, I mean, catch me up on Worlds. What's going on? Who's gonna win? What do I need to know?
Well, all you need to know is that we had two of potentially the best ever best of 5 series in World's history. For those who have been, you know, who watch League, you'll know that Worlds has been going on for over 10 years now. So when I say that we just had two of the best ever games last weekend, I know that's a high watermark, right? But I truly think that my personal favorite was this game. This was on Sunday. This was I'm pretty sure it was on Sunday. Was it the last one?
Yeah, I think
What
Sunday.
day?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sunday. Yeah, this was DRX EDG, and a lot of this focuses around one player, Deft. Now, I know Keith doesn't know too much about League, like he just said there. You're not the you're not an absolute like no lifer when it comes to like certain games, like I am with League.
Yeah, Danny is. Danny is in fact a no lifer.
I am a no lifer. Yeah, yeah. I managed to detach myself slightly from it, but not much. World still sucks back in, but you know a bit about Death, right? He had to write some pieces about Death back in the day. Yeah, early days of theScore.
Yeah, when I started at theScore, we were writing articles still, and I I was intimately familiar with Chinese and Korean League of Legends because I was working overnight shifts, reporting on the matches.
Yeah. So a lot has changed since then in the league scene. One pretty permanent fixture is Deft.
Yeah.
Who interestingly, so he started out in Korea, obviously. He then went to EDG for a year or two, and he played alongside, as far as I remember, Scout and Mako on the other side there, the mid and support for EDG. So there's a lot of history already between Deft and EDG. Deft has been to Worlds, I think, every year since 2014. I think.
It's actual grinder.
Yeah, but 2014 was the last time he got further than quarterfinals, right? So he was in semifinals in 2014, and then ever since then, he's only managed to achieve quarters. This was a quarterfinal game. EDG won the first one. It wasn't a stomp, but it was a fairly comfortable win, I'd say. The series already felt really, really close. Now, if you look at the gold at this point, DRX has a what we got here?
7K.
This is almost 7K, 6.5K, 6.5K lead, which is pretty big. Even at 40 minutes, where the gold becomes less impactful, it's still a pretty big lead. Just before this, actually, if you jump back by about sort of 5-10 seconds, bit before. Now you see the guy up there, Piosik. Go back to that, wherever that was. Was that? Yeah, there. Yeah. Piosik up there. So DRX are looking for like the final blow, really, on EDG here. I think they have everyone there. I can't see the mini map because your camera's covering. That's fine. I always look at this. That's fine. They see an opportunity here to flank, right? Piosik's coming in. They don't know he's there. I don't think he hasn't been spotted on vision. And the plan is to pin Viper against the wall, and the rest of the DRX follow up. GG game move.
Right.
But if you play it out, you're going to see what happens to Piosik here.
They've got a chance at finding the kills. Viper has flash. Viper has flash. Oh, the root stun to Piosik.
There, you see he got stunned, and he couldn't get Mako or Viper. Now Piosik's just died there.
Right.
Now, that's absolutely disastrous, and it's especially disastrous jungler. That makes it even more likely the enemy team can secure Baron if they start, because junglers, for those who don't know, have the smite summoner spell, which does extra damage to things like Baron. So if you keep playing this out, can you share your screen, by the way, on Discord, so I can sort of see this?
I can't without misplacing your camera.
Okay, never mind. All right, that's fine. Yeah, so at this point here, you see King. Yeah, you see King and Star. He tried to TP just there. Go back. You go back. So you see in the bottom right corner, in the sort of window, you can see Ezreal starts TPing into their base.
Yeah.
He gets his off, but Kingen did it on a wall.
Okay.
Gets instantly stopped by the jungler, who then just flashes back into the pit to secure Baron. And Kingen dives in after him, ends up dying. And that is so crucial if you remember that, as you just let it play on for.
But inside the pit, there's no playing for Baron. It's secured, but Death kills. He's got it.
Now Ezreal's here in the base. Look at the health. That it was one auto attack.
Oh my god.
He cannot get the stun. No way! Oh my god, Def, no! The game was in your hands, Def! And they're bringing Flandre over. They're trying to end the game here.
Oh man. So
And then the series showing them essentially ending.
yeah.
But I mean, go back again. I mean, it's just while he's hitting the Nexus, there's a couple of things to talk about. So Ezreal has an item. Some of you will recognize Trinity Force, which has Sheen as part of its item build, and so you get sort of a bonus AD on an auto attack after using a spell. So what you're supposed to do to maximize your damage on stuff is Ezreal weaving in your auto attacks with your spells, like your Qs and stuff, right?
Right.
He wasn't doing that while he was hitting either the Nexus or the turrets. I know it was one of them. I think it was the actual Nexus. People were theorizing that if Def just the bonus damage might have been enough to get that last auto. Yeah, I should also say as well the reason he couldn't actually finish Nexus, the inhib spawned, and as long as there are no inhibs down, you can't even touch the Nexus. So,
right.
Anyway, yeah, that's what happened to the Def. Absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I remember everyone on Twitter was just like, this is so doomed, because not only did that happen, and that's also the most soul-crushing thing ever, but you're now 2-0 down in a series where you have to win 3 games, right?
Yeah. And it's like you gotta come back from that.
Yeah, like mentally. I mean, I've tilted from far less. Right? I've tilted from far less. I don't know how tilting it would be to do that on the world stage at quarterfinals.
Would you call yourself a rager? Like, do you tilt easily?
It depends. It depends on the situation.
Yeah.
I'm very, very impervious to tilt with some things that make other people tilt.
Right.
And I tilt at things that other people don't tilt about. I'm a strange tilt, but I think it balances out as pretty. But yeah. But anyway, I think you want to if you want to show the end there, the end of the highlight reel, because you actually get to see. Just let it play out. Let the last like minute or so just play out. Really.
Kill me.
Yeah. Long story short, spoiler alert is that amazingly, yeah, if you just kind of skip ahead. Like maybe just play out the last quarter of the whole video.
It's the ultimate there from Viper, and they get that big HP advantage, but it is Flandre TPing back.
So as you can see here, it's now 2-2 in the series. DRX next 2 games. Def is playing out of his mind in this series, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, his Ezreal has been insane for years. I remember, I'm talking 6-7 years ago, I used to go type in Def Ezreal full game and just watch his games.
Right.
And solo queue, just so I could learn how to position better. So he was absolutely insane, and oh man, it was special. Can I send you something actually?
Sure. Yeah.
Really quick. So this is actually released today by DRX. I'm going to send it to you on. Do you want on Slack?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you pull that up and just kind of skip to the end, maybe like the last third.
Okay.
No, before. Like the last third of the whole video, like before that. Yeah. Sorry, a bit after. Where it's like 2-2 in the series.
All right, here.
I think that's 2-1. That's 2-1 still. Yeah, a bit further on. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
혁경 생일 파티 아니야 이거? 뭔 소리야? 아 그런 거 같은데? 왜 우리 팀 깃발 없음? 안 보여. 왜 1위씩 깃발밖에 없음? 왜 짜요 1위씩밖에 안 나왔어? 하하하 인정. 어차피 뭐라 하지 안 들려. 그냥 DRX 화이팅처럼 들려. 형 DRX 화이팅이야. DRX 화이팅. DRX 화이팅.
잘해보자. 할 수 있어 우리 진짜. 할 수 있어 우리. 할 수 있다 우리 진짜.
내 생각에 한타 한번 이기고 그냥 좀 길게 보자 게임 좀. 대피들 쫓아가지 말자.
하긴 내 포지션 좋아.
나 죽겠다 이거. 천천히 보자. 나 죽을만해. 나 죽었어.
뭐 물만한 거 있어?
예. 천천히 봐. 이거 팀 우리 팀이. 야 봐봐.
야 세조 높을 세조 높을.
우리가 서커스단이야. 우리가 서커스단. 나이스.
더블 세조.
맞아. 나이스.
나이스.
야, 걔 높을. 천천히 유리. 나 서커스.
Dude, this music is killing me.
I know, it's
It's
so
so
intense.
아직 안 끝났어 형.
야 용.
뭐 하지 말라고.
나 이거 바텀 해도 되지?
이거 얘네 둘 다 없다.
오케이 바텀.
하고 싶은 거야 이거랑. 하고 싶은 거 다 해. 나 바로 밑에 찍고 이거 바로 이거 맞아 이거.
나 갔다 이거. 아 쏘리. 야 이거 그냥 막아주라.
That was where they really messed up, and at this point I was thinking, oh, they've thrown it.
여기서
Right.
게임 터질 수도 있다 생각해. 괜찮아.
그냥 거리만 재줘. 세주 궁 돌 거야? 생각.
나 미카엘 있어.
And what depth here? So depth's with the blonde one,
할 말해.
sort of glowing yellow.
Yeah.
나이스.
나이스. 나궁 있어.
Capstick managed to steal
야 딜만 막아.
Dragon there, which is insane.
Yeah.
하죠 이거.
But they still think, EDG think, look, we're still 5, they're 4. They
Yeah.
just dive onto death. Death.
Oh, definitely alive. Oh shit.
Managed to stay alive somehow.
Wow.
Look at his health there.
Fucking sick.
And then Capstick's reaction here.
Yeah, he's screaming.
나이스.
Let's go to Atlanta.
Fuck yeah.
이 맛에 게임하지.
This is why I play games.
I love that. But look, wait till the end. He says some great quotes, Capstick.
선발전부터 이게 뭐야?
재밌네. 재밌긴 하다 올해 진짜 재밌다.
와, 롤 너무 재밌어. 해르고 젠지.
가자.
아틀란티나로.
나이스.
Dude, this is the only guy who's ever said League is fun.
I know. I was gonna take a screenshot of that and just change for a day.
It's so good.
So that was hype. That was incredibly dope to see. And then this is the post game interview, which kind of speaks for itself. I'm not really gonna
Right.
do much talking
mean
over
to
this.
finally be back.
우선 가장 먼저 2,942일 만에 4강 무대를 다시
Or maybe go back
밝혀주셨습니다.
actually and
데프트 선수에게
get
어떤
more of the
의미인가요?
questioning.
I mean, that's where it starts.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
That's
선수에게 어떤 의미?
She says
What does it mean
what
to
does it mean?
finally be back?
to be back.
우선 가장 먼저 어떤 의미인가요?
Sad. Dude, he's so fired. I'm the biggest Def fan on earth.
I know, right? Me too.
What a king,
And
man.
something about seeing Capstick cry as well. That was
No.
안 울려고 했는데 갑자기 눈물이 나가지고
It's just good to see some emotion. You know, this is something I always bang on that esports needs more of. Just people getting. I want to see people upset.
Yeah.
On stage and in the stand. I want to see
Absolutely.
people get as upset as it.
우승을 못 하더라도
I think
좀
esports is heading in the right
나아가고
direction.
있다는
Yeah, if people are
More
crying.
happens.
하고 싶은
Yeah, genuinely. I'm not trying to be reductive. I just
No, I
just
agree, I
genuinely
agree.
think
그런 느낌을 많이
that tears
받았어서.
equal. Tears are a sign of something beyond someone going,
그냥
"Let's go
좋은 것
liquid."
같아요.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So my
Yeah,
goal
absolutely.
for this Worlds, regardless of the result, even if I cannot win Worlds, I just wanted to get this impression that I'm making progress, I'm getting better. And throughout this 5-game series, I kind of realized that I am getting better, so I'm so happy.
Sick.
Yeah. So like.
And so that sets the stage for semis, right?
Yeah, I just need to mute you because I can hear two of you. Yes, that's the semi. So the first semi-finals is on Saturday. It's JDG against T1.
JDG versus T1. So we got
Yeah.
the Faker story arc.
Yes, yeah. So I mean, I know who I want to win both of these semi-finals. You've got JDG versus T1. I want T1 because I am a very, very basic human being who just loves Faker. I know the people, perhaps with more personalities on League of Legends, will say other things. Choose other players or teams than Faker. I have been an absolute basic Faker stan from day one. I want to see him win another Worlds title. I think there's something way more impressive about Faker coming back from his golden era to do it again.
Right.
Because it's very easy, and I imagine it's the same as traditional. So you can traditional teams as well. It's very easy to look back at a golden era team and say, well, that was to do with these factors and these other teammates and this manager. The conditions were just right for them in that era. To their achievements. But you cannot deny Faker coming back after I don't know when was the last time he won Worlds. It was 2017, I think, last time he won Worlds.
Yeah.
You can't deny that. You cannot deny a 5-year gap coming back. Everything has changed in the game. His teammates have completely changed, and management's changed. Everything has changed. He's the only constant. So for him to win Worlds again, it's just the ultimate. It's the ultimate statement, right? He can retire then, and nobody can deny that. At least until now, he's the GOAT because he did it in two very different eras, two very different teams, and say no more, really. Say no more.
Yeah, I mean, you one that's it's like the Tom Brady comparison, sort of, where I haven't been a Tom Brady fan most of my life, to be honest, but he won a bunch of championships with the Patriots, the New England Patriots, and sort of broadly considered obviously a dynasty, like Bill Belichick considered one of the best coaches in the history of football, like all this kind of shit, tons of talent, incredible system. And one of the knocks, against Brady, some amount of the time, was always oh, well, he always did it with Belichick, he always did it with this person, or teams are always good, or whatever, right? And then he goes to Tampa Bay and does it again, and it's kind of what Faker's trying to do, right? It's come back and say, oh, actually, I'm just gonna do it again with a completely different team, way further on in my career. Stakes are completely different. Players are better, all that sort of thing. There's more parity. Everything you could say. So no, it is good, and I agree. I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited to see it. I sort of mentioned earlier, I'm gonna be down in San Francisco next week as part of a partnership that we have with Cisco. We've been putting out some videos on YouTube in our new series called Every Second Counts. Rank Up Ping Down. That was our last Cisco. Cisco partnership.
Integrations mixed up.
Yeah. But yeah, we have this Rank Up Ping Down series going where Dimitri is trying to get better at League, playing with some personalities like Ovely and Cadril, and we're sort of culminating that next week at Worlds. So I'm stoked to be there. I'm stoked to get learned on some of these storylines and get to experience a live esports event for the first time in my entire life, which is going to be insane. I've never seen a big finals or anything like that. So yeah, it's gonna be dope.
Yeah, I'm so jealous of that because the energy is going to be insane. The energy when I saw TSM win the 2016 LCS finals in Toronto, and the energy in some of those games was easily better than some sports games I've been to.
Right.
Hands down, it was incredible. It was insane, and that was just the LCS final. So Worlds is a whole different beast. But so if T1 wins that would be amazing because they'll be off to the finals then. on the other side of the bracket, we've now got GenG, who ever since before the tournament, they've been favourites really, or at least one of the favourites to take the whole thing. Incredibly strong team. Players like Rule are looking like they're just getting better every week at the minute.
Dude, League of Legends players have the sickest names. I'm sorry, but like just like Ruler is just like a dope name. I don't know why. Like it's just so swaggy. Some of these names.
Yeah. I say especially like Korean.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I think that goes all the way back to StarCraft. Is like they just always have the fucking dopest. It's always just English nouns, but it's like they're just so fire.
Yeah, so GenG is Doran Peanut, which I think Peanut's a great name.
Especially, I mean, he just suit. I like. It's like he just has a good look. You know, it's like a whole combo.
Yeah.
It's sick.
Yeah, shows me Ruler the hands.
Yeah.
DRX, and then so they're the favourites, and they are now facing off against the now much beloved DRX,
right?
Roster featuring Def. So, you know, if DRX pull through that, if DRX and Def pull through that, they managed to beat the favourites in the semi-finals. Def gets the world finals. And it's Deft and DRX versus Faker in what could be both of their last ever, you know, tournaments, or at the very least the furthest they ever get, right? Who knows what next year will be like. That's going to be an insane finals, like Deft versus Faker. You know, I could show you clips from 2014 of Deft versus Faker, right? It's just insane that they would eventually end up in the World's finals against each other if that happens. But yeah, the smart money I'd say is still on GenG, but I think DRX having gone through that traumatic quarterfinals has made them believe that anything's possible, right? Like even if they end up 2 down in the series, they
can come back.
They can come back. Yeah. People were referring to that quarterfinal series as the first ever 4-1 best of 5.
Right, because of the Deft moment.
Yeah. So it's like if you can do that, then perhaps GenG aren't so scary. But that's it at the minute. I mean, I've not been this excited for a world sort of final stages in years, honestly. A lot of people are making jokes and saying, look, like Worlds has got so much better when the Western teams are knocked out, which it's one of those memes that like does have some stinging truth to it, I think.
I think it's the same with traditional sports, right? Like ultimately you get to the playoffs and there are favorites, and like, you know, sometimes a Cinderella team, they, you know, show their face and they're exciting, but for the most part, so you want to watch the best teams. Like I'm a big baseball guy. Like this year there's been a bunch of upsets, but generally you want to see the best team play the best teams. You want to see the Dodgers play the Yankees or the Dodgers play the Astros or whatever. Now this year that didn't happen, but generally speaking, you want to see the big dogs go at each other, right? And I mean, in this case, it's always the Eastern teams, not the Western teams. That's for sure.
I think something about having Worlds back in NA back in North America for the first time since 2015, and to see them do so perform so abysmally. That's not Flame. That's actually, I think we can objectively say they performed abysmally.
Yeah. 3-15 will do that for you.
3-15, yeah, gone down in history. So I think that's the stinger as well. It's like you wait, all the fans have waited so long for to steal a phrase from English football. We've been waiting so long for it to come home. Yeah. And when a tournament does come home, NA absolutely shit the bed. Right. So that's the real stinger as well. For some reason, people felt like having the tournaments in New York, and Atlanta, and San Francisco were gonna
change something.
Yeah, it felt like the air. Perhaps things were different in the air, even though this is team special. Something, you know, people just had a sort of air of expectation this year, and it went even worse than previous years. But I mean, we've talked about this at length. I'm not gonna dive into of North America's world's records.
You're gonna start crying on camera.
Yeah, the weird thing is people think that I'm an NA, I'm like a fan of the LCS because I'm a TSM fan, but my support in League goes TSM, then Europe,
Yeah.
and then maybe other North American teams.
Right.
In fact, probably North American teams even less so because they're sort of TSM rivals. So I'm not actually upset at all about the NA situation. I like to switch and play my EU card
Right.
and say, hey, listen guys, I was born in Europe, so come on, don't lump me in with the North American crowd. But
someone says, so you like Reggie?
no, I wouldn't say I like Reggie. Yeah, I think that's a pretty loaded question.
Absolutely.
We've talked about this a lot on Don't At Me, and one of the things I'll often talk about in meetings when this topic has come up in football, soccer for any all the North Americans watching, in English soccer, quite often people will absolutely despise their team's owners. If you're a Man United fan, you'll know that for the past 2-3 years, every single game, like a quarter of all the fans are chanting Glazers out, and the Glazers are like American of Man U. They absolutely hate them. They boycott stuff. They have banners, protests, constant petitions, everything. They hate their owner, and they love their team. And I'm not trying to make a direct comparison to esports, and part of the reason is because esports it's a lot younger in the sense that the people that own a lot of these teams, with the exception of teams like G2, which was very recently changed, they're owned by the people that founded them.
Yeah.
Right. So that's all very wrapped up together. Whereas with like traditional sports teams, and I can only really speak for football in England, the club has been around for so much longer than the owners have been, and they are seen as much more like temporary custodians. So it's a lot easier to sort of mentally separate them from the club. It's a lot easier to say, I love Man U, I don't particularly like the owner, or even stronger things than that, right? Whereas I don't think it's people sort of perhaps have a more of a difficult time doing that in esports, which I understand, but I just want to put it out there that it's okay to like players and like a team and also call out stuff when you see it, right? And that's something we've done a lot of on this channel. Yeah, that makes sense. That sort of answers the question.
Do you see this? This report about double lift this morning? Is that real? Do you know? Well, I mean, obviously we don't know for sure if it's real, but I thought he was finally out, man. I thought he was finally calling it.
No, he's never really out. I think the thing with double lift, and I'm not trying to like. No, you know what? I am trying to get into it. I was about to say I'm not trying to guess what another being's thinking. I'm going to do exactly that. Guess what double lift is thinking right now. I think double lift is a competitor till he dies.
Right.
I don't think he can switch it off. And you're talking about someone like Tom Brady. He's a great example of this, right? I think you can have a part of your brain that makes logical decisions, and a part of your brain that is just addicted to competition. And for some people, that part of their brain is just stronger. And the logical decision, for a lot of people, is look, just cash out, continue to be possibly the biggest individual league streamer on the planet, or at least in the Western scene, and stay involved with the scene in that way, right? Be the biggest fish in that pond. I just don't think double lift can switch off the competition part of his brain, and I also think that I know I keep making these comparisons to traditional sports. It's very easy to do this because in other sports you kind of have a timer that starts around a certain age where you just physically have to retire. Like it doesn't matter if the hunger's there if you can't run those 40 yards as fast anymore, or you're just not as physically strong anymore. You're not fit. You're getting rings run around you by younger athletes, right? It doesn't matter if the hunger is still there. That can only carry you. With esports, I mean, we haven't really seen an argument yet for any sort of drop off in terms of skill or talent. in age. I mean, I know people like to say like, oh, 16 can click faster than a 33-year-old. Whatever. I don't know. I just thought that the data is, the jury's still out on all of this. The data isn't bodies in traditional sports. So what I'm trying to say is that for double lift, I think that he doesn't have that signal. There isn't a signal yet that tells
Right.
you have to retire. Like, you cannot keep up with it.
Yeah.
The last time, I think, a year before double lift retired, or might be 6 months. Right? It's not like this guy was like, it was wallowing in the lower tiers of league, or like struggling on like a C tier team. He had a disastrous run at Worlds with TSM in 2020. He ended his career on a low note.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I say, he's not getting that signal that players in traditional naturally get, which is telling you, look, it's time to go. Like, you cannot keep up. The reason he went before, I think, was because it sucked so hard to go 0-6 at Worlds, and so he took that as a sign. 0-6 at a sign isn't necessarily like a stone cold. A sign isn't necessarily a fact. It's not like your body has completely clapped out and you physically cannot do it anymore. It's just he took that performance as a sign.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that he has been so involved in the league community and the pro scene ever since has kept him interested and kept that thought alive. I think perhaps if he retired and traveled to the side of the world and started a whole new career, or became a variety streamer, or did what XQC did, played loads of other games and became a variety. Yeah, I think perhaps there's a chance he wouldn't be saying this, but like this guy is so involved in the pro scene. He co-streams every single LCS game, I feel like, at the minute. He's doing it with Worlds, The point is that, like, I'm not surprised. I think until double lift physically, or probably more accurately to say mentally, cannot keep up with new generations of pros, there is nothing in his brain telling him that he can't do this. The last time he played in the LCS, he won it.
Yeah. I mean, I think another thing that is definitely probably relevant, and definitely is relevant with double lift, is that the international competition is happening now. Like, Worlds is happening now, and like I remember there was that one year where he took like an entire split off, the spring split or whatever. Yes,
it was
spring.
It was spring. It was
took spring off, and then he's like, I'm going to come back and play in summer and then go to Worlds. And it's like, to me, he's probably sitting there like, okay, I've done every fucking thing I possibly could do in North America. I've won. I've been the best. He is, like you're saying, a prolific streamer, content creator. He's involved in the scene, like, sort of through and through. Probably, if not the most popular North American player, one of the most popular since I've even been involved in esports. And
definitely, it's him or Bjergsen. I mean, I'd even say him.
Or Tyler won North America's true hero.
We're discussing mortals. Tyler's another level.
But yeah, I mean, to me, it's like the hunger that you're talking to, I imagine for him has a lot to do with, I need to prove myself internationally, and every step he can take to even prove himself a little bit more is going to impact his legacy. Because the only thing anyone can really say about this guy is that, like, yeah, I mean, just like the rest of North America, he couldn't really perform at the highest level. So, I mean, I can imagine that this time of the year in particular is extremely, extremely tough for him to not be on stage,
Yeah, I think that's a really good point about Worlds, because he often talked, that was his ultimate goal, right? He'd done everything else. He didn't want MSI, right? It's something that no other North American team has ever done since, right? So it really was just Worlds was the last thing to do for him. And I think that's a very interesting thing to bring up, because I imagine when you get dumpstered in your groups at Worlds and it's 0-6, you must be thinking, like, I just can't keep up. You know, I'm this is on me. This is a reflection of me. But then to see how NA's continued to perform, and then to see that this year, all 3 NA teams finished their groups with a score of 1-5, which is they only won one more game than he did.
Yeah.
Tragic year a few years ago.
Yeah.
That must be telling him, you know, maybe it's not me. You know, maybe maybe I don't need to step aside, right? Because who am I stepping aside for?
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah. Who's coming in to take my spot, right?
Yeah.
Some conversations in the chat, like you guys talking about how he couldn't be a coach, but he could be a caster. Look, one thing I'll say is, I can't really speak to his coaching ability. He doesn't exactly seem like a personality for coaching to me, but I mean, I could be wrong. What I will say is that to me, like, NA League of Legends needs Doublelift. They need Doublelift to be, you know, on the internet, in the public eye, talking. Like, he is, you know, for better or for worse, like one of the most charismatic guys that we have access to in the league esports scene. And, you know, he's not afraid to speak his mind. I think those things are really important. So, like, as far as I'm concerned, once this career is over, and we have no idea when that is, I would love to see Doublelift on stage talking. I don't know how happy Riot would be about that or what, but I would love to see Doublelift doing the same when he's like laying into people like he does sometimes on the co-streams. I would love to see that on official broadcast. I think it'd be dope.
Absolutely, he should go into casting, being a color caster. For anyone who's been watching his co-streams during Worlds or during the LCS for the past year or so, him, Meteos and Sneaky. For me, I'm not trying to throw shade on the official Riot broadcast casters there, but I would, if I had to choose, I would watch those three forever in a heartbeat. I mean, there's something about the way they talk about the game. They have such a good way of analyzing the game seriously as three former, in a really insightful, sort of down-to-earth way, and then just joking about what's being seen on screen. Or, you know, what's really good about them is, and Doublelift's great at this, relating it, right? Because, you know, if people are like trashing on one player, he might, in this situation, this is what, right? Like, you had to go here and here and here, or and other times a player will seem to do, well, if guys don't, here's what I, as an accomplished pro player, know. I know that there are other pro players who are doing commentary videos and doing a bit of co-streaming and doing commentary videos. And there's no one in the North American scene that's better at it than either Doublelift or Doublelift with those two, Meteos and Sneaky. I just want to say as well, Meteos. I was watching a clip of him co-streaming the other day, and I was actually like crying laughing the first time I saw this clip. Obviously, it's probably not going to land the same now.
You sent me on Slack?
Yeah, I'll send it to you on Slack. Hang on a sec.
Do you have a noise gate on your mic? Seems like you're like sort of chopping in and out a bit. Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't have a noise gate, no.
All right, well, we
Is it quiet or chopping or what?
Chopping. You just kind of go like in and out, yeah. Yeah, no problem. My guy, Noob in the chat. We're doing our best. Are you sending me the clip in Slack?
Yeah, I sent it, yeah. Oh, that's rough, guys. I'm sorry. Well, I'll stop talking for a bit anyway, because we're about to show you. So, I guess if you just kind of skipped maybe halfway through, you're basically looking for... Maybe it's sooner. About there, yeah, maybe about there. So basically, just set this up.
I'm going to 420.
Yeah, screw it, yeah. Meteos is like doing impressions of the player who picked Teemo, right? So he's like talking as if he's that guy, and like Doublelift can barely breathe, and I was laughing so hard
Yeah, let me get this going.
From Latin America playing at home, Teemo top.
I swear to
What
fucking
the
god, the
fuck,
night
bro?
before this, they had gotten clapped so hard in the scrims. They're like, guys, how the fuck are we gonna win against RNG tomorrow? Anyone have any ideas?
Aatrox can't do anything after the first couple solo kills he'll get on me. Then the matchup just flips. I start winning. Yo, guys, I gotta move timer toward mid. What can we do?
Dude, I have so many moves all the time. Like, I can just always go middle like every wave, and we can't do anything.
He's too scared to even lean against me.
Actual puss.
All right, yeah, everyone rotate to me. Oh god, Aatrox is here. I win this. if all of us are here. It's actually a free kill. Top is so free. Top is free. What are you doing in River? Come kill his ass.
Okay, let's just dive this fast. I mean,
Dude, God, he's so free.
dude, he's literally,
Top is so
literally
free.
1
Top is
HP.
so
I'm
free.
on turret
Wait,
1
dude,
HP.
this is the guy that's playing fucking Zillion top too.
Yeah, dude, you didn't hear what I was saying? Like, we just played the most random shit.
Oh
my god! And
Why are you behind the turret? This guy's just splitting me. He's so free.
We need to just dive top there, dude.
Why did you wait so long?
Oh my god, I got baited again.
Actually just killed.
Dude, if we switch junglers, I am fucking this guy's mom all the way back to China, man. Like, holy shit.
Fucking balls.
I'm just gonna push bot for the rest of the game. You just not letting me carry. I'm just gonna split bot.
Not letting
Honestly,
me
what's
carry.
happening now?
Dude, I have to say this. I cannot get over the fact that this guy is worth fucking millions of dollars, and he streams to like tens of thousands of people all the fucking time, and he still streams with a Blue Yeti mic, and there is nothing in his fucking house. Like, what am I looking at? Like, what am I? This is the most esports shit I've ever seen in my life. Like,
Yeah.
he's got a $99 mic and like 3 boxes and a fucking, what is it? This is like the grab and go shit you get from the beer store. There's like a what looks like a wireless router right here, and odds are this table came with the place, because Double If seems completely averse to furniture as a concept. So
I don't know where he is there. Yeah, I'm a bit confused. This is probably something that
no, but I feel like no matter what, whether he's at home or he's at a facility or what, he's always on these fucking Blue Yeti mics. It just kills me.
Maybe, yeah. But like, he was like, so I actually did that shoot with Double Lift.
Oh yeah, you did, yeah.
And he had moved into his apartment, where, as far as I'm aware, currently still is, although this image might say otherwise. And yeah, it was the same thing. A lot of car boxes, a lot of like, it didn't look moved into. But then, I watched his videos over the next few months, and it slowly looked more lived in. Now, maybe that was him. I want to give
who could say?
credit, but it might have also been Lena, his girlfriend. So, but who knows? What I'm trying to say is, who knows? We don't know. But it is funny. I think he's just, he's definitely worth a lot of.
He's a nomad, man. He's like he's like, what are those memes? You know the memes where it's like it's just like an empty room with like a computer and a bed, and it's like, I got all I need. This is this is the most the gamer setup.
I actually think that's
there's probably something enlightened about that, to be honest.
There is, yeah. I think it's just, that's all he needs.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an XQC vibe.
Oh yeah, big XQC vibe.
Sometimes when you look at what XQC has, you think, I cannot believe you're staking $300,000 a spin on some online roulette wheel while you don't have a lampshade on your light bulb.
Yeah.
Or I cannot get my head around that relationship. But each to their own. He might be investing his money into something that means a lot more to him than furnishings and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate.
Danny's going full fucking insight over here. It's just a fully enlightened. He's he's not lazy. He's a nomad. He's like, I don't need shit. I'm a minimalist. All I need is my computer.
Well, because he's that rich, he could pay someone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I not want to look stuff up online?
Yeah.
To have, Not only do I not want to build it or set it up, I
Yeah.
don't even want to look for it online. I'm so rich, I can afford to just get a designer, just buy it all,
And
set
put
it
it
up,
together. Yeah.
set it up, yeah, do it all. Like, but he doesn't. So it must be. I think it must be a choice. It has to be.
Yeah. I
Can it?
mean,
Like-
imagine. Yeah. I will say, look, I'll say this. So, I mean, someone just called me out in the fucking chat because I said the beer store, which is an Ontario only thing. So I got localized there, but
You've been doxxed.
so
Massively.
yeah, I live in Toronto. A lot of the people that work at theScore live in Toronto. I used to live in
Not
a.
me.
Danny also lives in Toronto.
No, can't dox me.
I used to live in a suburb of Toronto called Etobicoke, and my apartment used to be massive, like 3 times the size of my current apartment. Just because of its like just being outside the city. And I found when I moved from Etobicoke to this apartment and like subtracted the amount of items I had and the amount of space that I had, I felt like way better. Like I used to feel so much anxiety about like fucking just like how much space and cleaning and all this kind of shit. And then I came here and it's like all it is like a bedroom and another room with a kitchen and a couch, like in the same place. And it's like, you know, it's I feel like way less stressed about it all the time. So maybe I got a thing or two to learn from W.
Yeah. You must have had have you ever had a minimalist phase? I think everyone has one in their 20s, right?
Fucking no. I've never had I love stuff.
Really?
I love shit, man. I love stuff. I mean, Jasper is in the chat who I guess this guy's like I appreciate this because this is how you know he's an OG because he like remembers my shoes from when I used to do videos all the time and like I was on Don't At Me more often and stuff. I'm a big enthusiast. I have like lots of collections and shit like that. So I have never had a minimalist phase, at all. Not even close. Not even close. So
I definitely have, and I will say that, like, you know, as you can tell from my apartment is absolutely packed wall to wall with objects. That phase ended, but it definitely existed for a while. And it felt good, like it. And you don't have to go. The thing is, like, there is something to be said for just looking at stuff and being like, do I either A, use that on a regular basis, or B, get any sort of emotional value out of it? The answer is no. You know, get rid of it. And at least for me, doing that a few years ago, like, I genuinely felt so much better. Like, there's just I'm not advocating for getting rid of crap that you like, or right. But there's a lot of things people don't realize they neither like or use.
Yeah.
They're just sort of holding on to. And at least for me, that sits on your head. You know, it's just. I think also for me, it takes
a weed face.
That is a weed face. Probably, yeah. I mean, I'm already sort of like growing my hair out and wearing tie-dye, so I think weed's probably the next thing.
Yeah.
Ready for it.
You're primed for summer 2023 weed, Danny.
I'm primed. I'm ready for my weed face. Yeah. I mean, not to go too off topic here, but I feel like for me, I came to Canada with like no objects basically. Like I had a suitcase with half. So in my mind, that was the epitome of like that was the most free I ever felt. You know, mentally, physically. Probably was partly to do with physically being younger as well, but I definitely think like that's where it's tied in with my head. It's that I basically a load of crap back in the UK, and so on some level I'm always trying to strive back to that. So what I'm trying to say in a very roundabout is that, look, double lift, if you're a minimalist, mate, I get it. I get it.
Fucking go off, brother. Go off.
Don't be ashamed. All I would say though, minimalist can still be tidy. Talk about minimalist because he's only got a few cardboard boxes. We'll tidy away the cardboard boxes. You know? That's what I'm saying.
That's how you're saying a weed dart before every Don't At Me shoot. That's how you find a engagement. Everybody thinks I'm stoned on every Don't At Me I've ever done, and I've never smoked weed. I have done it, but I never do it.
People think I'm stoned sometimes before, like when I do Don't At Me.
I think they just I think that's just a popular comment.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'd say in about a quarter of the donut meetings I do, my eyes are really red, because we shoot fairly early in the morning, like not ridiculously early, but you know, we're definitely we're definitely sat there before everyone else at work doing the videos. So yeah, long story short, my eyes are usually quite tired looking, but it's not weed. Just for the record, I also want to deny that neither Keith or I.
Yeah, we're passing all the weed allegations.
Before we shoot videos for our company.
Yeah. All right, but you want to talk chess before we head out?
Yeah. Pull up the lawsuit.
Yeah, well, let's do it. People think I'm stoned, but also I am stoned. Now that's a fucking vibe right there.
Yeah, that's true.
Dude, his middle name is Moke. That is fire.
There was I just want to say one last thing about the whole weed chat. Is that I had a friend who started smoking weed years ago, and another one of my friends made this sort of dumb joke to him one day. He was just like switching around the words "hi" and "dude," and the guy like laughed a little bit. And we thought nothing of it, and then he would say it occasionally.
Brother, you're chopping up a bit.
Am I? Well, yeah. I don't really know what to do unless I could do a full audio biopsy, but
maybe turn yourself down a bit. Can you? I think you might just be peaking, and it cuts.
Yeah, my audio setup's fucked because of the.
Oh no. He's got to go under the desk to fuck with the
Hello?
mic. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, it just seems like when you talk too loud, it cuts out. So that's my biopsy of the situation.
Stick testing.
You're good. Maybe we should get you a Blue Yeti. Like double lift.
I've got Blue Yeti. I've got a perfectly functional Blue Yeti. It's my own. But yeah, it doesn't sound half as good as these. So. Yeah, anyway, so he kept saying, you know what? Forget this anecdote. It's crap. Let's just talk about the lawsuit.
Okay.
So, yeah. So for those who don't know, the chess run religiously the past couple of months. I think we are now 6 weeks into it, maybe more, 7 weeks.
Yeah, something like that.
And the latest update as of last Thursday, so yeah, just over a week ago, is that Hans Niemann, the 19-year-old American chess grandmaster accused of cheating by Magnus Carlsen in the Singfield Cup at the start of September. Well, okay, I want to just correct that. He wasn't directly accused, but he made some implications and said that, but he did accuse Hans of sort of cheating generally. But he didn't specify at the actual time. Anyway, that ended up in this whole back and forth pair of them, and yeah, this is the lawsuit. Hans is suing Magnus, the Play Magnus group, which is Magnus's his chess app. He's suing chess.com, and one of the business officers for chess.com, a guy called Daniel Wrench.
Mm-hmm. And Hikaru.
And Hikaru, Hikaru Nakamura, who, popular Twitch streamer, former TSM streamer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, in order on the list of plaintiffs, Magnus makes the most sense. That's an obvious one. It's obvious why he's suing him, because let's be honest, if Magnus hadn't sort of made these implications and these comments, no one else's voice would have carried this much weight and created so much negative press around Hans. So that's an obvious one.
Yeah.
And the Play Magnus and chess.com. So chess.com are the ones who released their own into him cheating on, or accusing him of cheating on their platform.
Mm-hmm.
They published that report. They actually said that they couldn't find any evidence cheated specific game against. They could only games that, other games that they had that happened on their website and such. That was quite interesting. But they brought in experts and they did statistical analysis, and they basically, it's beyond statistically probable that he didn't cheat, right? So essentially saying he's lying, he cheated, or he has cheated in over 100 games, I think they said. Anyway, so but there's also another reason why he's sort of suing these two in conjunction with each other, because the essence of this lawsuit is that Magnus believes there's a conspiracy against him, right? It's not like he's just picked out a couple of people who happen to be saying similar things. And he believes that Magnus's company, chess.com, the chess.com officers at the very top, and Hikaru actually working together on this to sort of conspire to bring him down because for a number of reasons. They actually go through a bunch of maybe we can skip to an actual section. Let me pull up the lawsuit myself. If you
yeah, Hans believes Jasper. Just let me know what page to go to. I can.
Yeah. I'm just I'll find that. I think if I look at the word threatened, I remember him saying that.
Speaking of sneakers, I think a pair of sneakers just got dropped off at my house.
Okay.
Important news.
Page 1450 is what I have down in my notes.
Yeah. Chess.com's merger with Play Magnus to monopolize chess. Wow, that is an extreme statement.
So, as they say here, they're alleging the 83 million acquisition deal from chess.com to acquire Play Magnus.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they basically theorized that this is such a big deal for them and for chess.com and for Magnus that any blemish on Magnus's quite rightfully earned perception as the greatest chess player on the planet could damage that deal, right? For all parties involved. That at the core is what they're arguing. Now, you might think, what the hell has Hikaru got to do with that, right? He's Magnus's rival. Why is he being lumped in? Well, Hikaru is also an ambassador for chess.com. So Hans's team are alleging that even though he's not directly, he's following the line, right? Mm-hmm. He's towing the line of his partners in chess.com by not let's and this is something that actually comes up quite. Is that quite a lot in the discussion around Hikaru never actually said he definitely cheated.
Yeah.
All he did was try to explain to his viewers what is potentially going through Magnus. He kind of, arguably he put words in Magnus's mouth, although the fact that Magnus never addressed that kind of shows that perhaps he was right. But that's the limit. But Magnus's legal team are arguing that it's all part of the same conspiracy.
Sorry, not Magnus's legal team, right? This is Hans's legal team.
Sorry, Hans's legal team are arguing,
So the sentiment is that like Hans and his legal team are arguing that Magnus is trying to uphold his image as the best chess player on the planet because of the strength of that image, with the backdrop of this deal being worth so much money.
Exactly. This deal is endangered by any implication that Magnus isn't the chess player in the world, and they think this accusation of cheating is an attempt to try and salvage that.
Right. Interesting. And this lawsuit is asking for $100 million per person, right?
$100 million per person. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. $400 million.
Yeah. So part of the thing that's difficult when it comes to like case history with this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Hans's team will need to prove that that Magnus and his co-conspirators have intent to disregard the truth.
Right.
To show that these defendants not only said something that was untrue, right? That could be provable, perhaps, right? But that they said it out of malice, and that's a lot harder to prove, essentially. So it doesn't look like a great case for him. But I don't think even he's going to get 400 or whatever it is.
Yeah, no, for sure. A lot of these times these things get bloated, but I think the perspective I'm getting is, and maybe look, like obviously this is all under the guise of cheating, which is bad, and I'm not supporting a cheater in any way, but maybe it's a good thing. I will say one of my biggest takeaways now that I've sort of intaken a lot of this drama and this situation is that it does seem good that somebody is kind of trying to like at least acknowledge this like kind of unshakable position Magnus has in the chess world. It's good to have people sort of trying to at least like point to the fact that his sort of completely unshakable influence is like bad. It has bad parts to it, right? No matter how good he is at chess, you can't have one guy in this like worldwide ancient competition where like everybody believes everything he says and he's like untouchable, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Do I think that he's going to get $100 million from him? Like, absolutely not. But I do think it's really, I think the conversation has been really probably nicely brought to the forefront of like, should one guy in a competition this big have this much power? If that makes sense.
Yeah, and also by extension of that, where does the blame lie that he has that much power? Because you could say, we could sit here and wag our day and implicated that you shouldn't have put out that statement on Twitter. But I mean, in many ways, he is who he is, right?
Yeah.
He's been put on a pedestal.
That's true.
I think that the deeper problem perhaps is that there isn't an official way to sort of determine this once and for all. The closest that you can ever come is saying that it's statistically likely. It's statistically very likely that she is.
Yeah.
But until most of these cases feel like they're settled by someone admitting to it, right? They get banned from a tournament. They get put into investigation, and they figure, look, I'll take the plea deal. I'm going to admit to it, and then hopefully I can come back, right? And Hans is straight up said, no, I didn't cheat.
Yeah.
So that's the real issue, is that it feels there is a way of concluding somewhat beyond reasonable doubt whether someone took drugs or someone did this or steroids or whatever, or even in esports, right? You can scan computers. It's not the same in chess, which is why it's so fascinating. I think that's why people are I actually think this is why people are so invested.
Oh yeah, I think it's a lot of it. I think it's that. Like, I think number one is the fact that we're probably never gonna know if he actually cheated, and I think that's tantalizing for people because it like opens up this world where there's like hours and hours of debate, and then it's the fact that like obviously all of the personalities involved, not even both, right? Because Hikaru is involved too, where everyone involved is like massively unique, charismatic, sort of like convincing as well. Like, it's easy to see like Magnus' side of things. It's also like Hans is like he's doing a very good job of setting himself up as this sort of like heel figure, and then you got Hikaru, who has his own sort of set of beloved fans as well. So I mean, I think the combination of the personality involved with the fact that like there is no definitive answer makes it like a particularly like mesmerizing public fallout,
Yeah, it's got all the ingredients of soap opera that just doesn't have an ending. It's the difference between a TV show with a season finale and a soap opera that goes on for 50 years. I mean, this is the soap opera of the the gaming world right now. There is no conceivable way this can end unless one of these parties buckles from their position right now. And in fact, this has been going on for 6-7 weeks. So I'm getting lost.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just classic drama. It's classic drama in a classic game.
Look, as classic as they come.
And people love it. And also I don't want to be mean here at all. Parts of this, and we've kind of said this off camera before, parts of this are kind of funny. Like there's a weird sort of comedic element. It's like, it is serious.
Yeah.
That this 19-year-old guy is being dragged through the mud, especially, God knows, especially if he's innocent, right?
Yeah.
You know, drama in itself is interesting, but I wouldn't call it like funny. But there are certain elements of this that are just like bizarre. Like we had the whole stuff with the anal beads, and that was, again, I can imagine on the one side you could say, look, that's but it's also kind of funny and bizarre.
Yeah.
Compared to most cheating. And for me, one of the latest funny this lawsuit is if you want to just like control F the document.
Yeah.
So I think it comes up 4 times.
What am I looking for?
King of Chess. You just search for it.
Yeah, he calls him the King of Chess over and over again.
Yeah, so this is something that I don't think. Did we get to the? I think that's the 4th one. Yeah. So I'm waiting to just load up. Yeah. So legitimate evidence refuting them, blacklist Niemann from top-level chess tournaments, and protect at any cost upon play Magnus brand and status as King of Chess. This is something they keep coming back to. They keep referring to Magnus as the King of Chess. Obviously, try. Like it's this overlord that needs to be revered. Like you don't want to anyone.
Yeah.
Right, because you're gonna lose your head, and that's what they're trying to frame Magnus as.
Right.
As the sort of to use a Game of Thrones reference, he's the Mad King.
Right.
He's sort of burning King's Landing, and Hans is in the firing line.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
absolutely.
And you can look at the other references as well to it.
Calls him the King of Chess. Gutlessly forfeited the game after making one word. Some of the language in here is fucking incredible.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It says, dared to disrespect the King of Chess and fearful that the young prodigy would further blemish his multi-million-dollar brand. Carlson, having solidified his position to the King of Chess, believes that when it comes to chess, he can do whatever he wants and get away with it.
But this is what you're saying. But he's saying that this is essentially saying what you would do.
Yeah.
It's bizarre, like, but it's a tactic, you know. It's a tactic.
Yeah, for sure.
Grab your attention, and it's going to leave the judge, or I don't know, the jury, or whoever's, with whether or not they want it, with an image in their head.
Yeah.
And a scepter, you know, deciding the laws of chess.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see how many hundreds of $1 million Hans gets paid. I think that might be it for us, though. I don't know about you, but I got fucking I got 100 things to do before I sign off for the week.
Yeah. I gotta.
You gotta go put a video out as well.
Yeah.
But it's a good chat.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Thanks for hanging out, everyone. We will likely be back next week. Talk some topics. If any of you are going to be in San Francisco for League of Legends World Finals, I don't know, DM me on Twitter or something.
Yeah, at Keith Capstick.
At Keith Capstick. DM me on Twitter. Say what up.
That was fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if anyone's out there, thanks for watching.
Yeah, we'll catch you next time.
See you next time. Bye bye.